here on 17. So lots of that to come tomorrow. But meanwhile, back to the world number one, Jon Rahm, who is preparing to make his fifth start here at the Players' Championship. He does lead the PGA Tour in his strokes gained off the tee and strokes gained tee to green. He's been in pretty good form of late. Hasn't won, though, since that US Open back in 2021. Rolf, he had a bit of a coming of age, I think you could say, here a few years ago. How different is the Jon Rahm today to the Jon Rahm that first came out on tour?
Well, I'd have to say that he's matured for sure. There's no doubt it. He was a lot fiery. He's still fiery, but I think that he hides it a little bit better than he did in the past when he was younger, even though he's still very young. I think that he is better suited to win a championship like this, and we've been talking about the patience that's required. There's also patience required to win a U.S. Open, and he did that very well last year at Torrey Pines, a golf course that, yes, he loves and that it's very close to his heart. But nonetheless, you still have to go out there and you have to execute. And this golf course is nothing. If it's nothing, it's completely about execution. You can have all the game plans you want out here, and you can have the best game plan imaginable. But if you don't execute the shots out here, you're going to find yourself struggling quite mightily around this place for sure.
Well, you speak about game plan, and when we speak about caddies, and, you know, guys, we saw it really play out with him and his caddy a few years ago, Eamon. I guess the importance of decision-making is going to be key this week?
It is, but, you know, he put it in the water on 11, having overruled his caddy a couple of years ago, and that Sunday he started with a four-stroke lead, sorry, it's a 54-hole leader, and then shot 4 over par that Sunday. But I also think the 11th hole is far enough away from the meat at the end of this tournament that maybe the scar tissue wouldn't impact him as much as had it happened, say, on 16 or 18. But I'm not as convinced as everyone else is that Jon Rahm's temper is kind of gone. We've seen a lot of flashes of it in the last few weeks. And he's actually, by his standards, lofty standards admittedly, in a mini slump right now. He's been outside the top 10 for 2 consecutive tournaments. That hasn't actually happened since last May. So maybe he's a guy who's got something to prove, but, you know, there's a guy whose game's tailor-made for every golf course. Whether or not his attitude is tailor-made for this golf course, I guess, remains to be seen.
It's a really intriguing conversation. I'm going to continue on Eamon's point. That problem he had back at 11 a couple years ago was a situation where literally his temper caused him to make a bad decision. So he hits the drive on 11. Looks like it's a pretty good drive. It kind of kicks left in the bunker. And he's upset about the fact that it did that. He got a bad bounce. And he said, you know, the heck with it. I'm just going to go ahead and go for it, and then dumps it in the lake from kind of a not very good lie over there. His temper and his fieriness is a very interesting discussion. Yes, I think he does try and hide it to an extent. No, I'm not sure that's the best thing for him. Tee to green, as you said, he's been great, but his putting has been atrocious the last couple of times out. And he missed a 10-inch putt at Bay Hill, and I thought, okay, he is going to get mad. You know, this is going to be an eruption. It wasn't. And I worry if he's trying to kind of...
Not be himself.
Not be himself.
Yeah.
I'm not saying fly off the handle out there and have a big tantrum.
But you like a bit of emotion.
I like a little bit of that.
And it's how you channel it. If he channels it in the right direction, and we all have to learn this. I was fiery and didn't have his talent, but I was definitely fiery, and I got upset with myself, and I got upset outwardly with myself. But as I got older, I learned how to channel it a little bit better. And the older you get, the better you get at channeling and learning how to control it to a certain extent. You know, we all get fiery. We all want to win. There's no one that wants to win more than him. But to Eamon's point about, I think he might be impervious to scar tissue because just the way he talks, it's just one tournament after the other. He knows he's going to be there every time, Eamon.
And I wouldn't rap a guy for overruling his caddy in the heat of battle, because I'm sure Davis Love's caddy may have tried to talk him out of that shot from the trees on 16 a few years ago, or at the time Phil won, and Bones tried to talk him out of that shot from the left fairway bunker on 10. I mean, ultimately, he took the risk. It didn't work out for him, but, you know, he he made the decision for himself, and he was going for something. He was going for a win. He wasn't playing safe.
Yeah, he had to be accountable for that because he made the decision. Adam Hayes, his longtime caddy, did survive that encounter, and the two have been a formidable partnership. You mentioned the scar tissue. I mean, he went through a heck of a lot last year alone. Let's not forget the positive COVID tests that brought him out of a likely win at the Memorial Tournament. He flew all the way to Tokyo only to have to turn around and unable to compete as the #1 golfer in the world in the Olympic Games, which he was thoroughly looking forward to. Yet he won a major championship. He had his first child. So there has been so much going on in his life right now, but he remains at the top of our game. And when it comes to emotion, I've got to ask you this. I don't know, are you talking Tyrrell Hatton-esque? Is that what you'd like to see from Jon Rahm, or
no,
still scale it back a little?
That's almost sarcastic anger from, I mean, Tyrrell Hatton's a national treasure, in my opinion, as far as the golf is concerned. That guy, he needs his own YouTube channel out there following him around. No, John's, he's a proper fiery, in my opinion. Not to say Tyrrell isn't, but he doesn't play this game for the money. I can tell just by watching him walk around. He could care less. He has no. No, I'm talking about Jon.
Okay.
He doesn't. I mean, listen. All these guys, for the most part, listen. There are certain guys that there's no doubt. I've run into guys in my time that play the game for the money. There's no doubt. When you realize you can't compete at a certain level, you start playing the game for the money. Okay. Jon's nowhere near that. He does not play the game for the money. He plays it for the love of it, to be creative, to win, and to come out here and to be the best that he can possibly be. And a guy like him, who's built like him, from a psychological standpoint, he's gonna get upset sometimes. And it's just a matter of, like I said before, it's a matter of learning how to channel that to where it turns it into a positive.
Well, the physical strength of Jon Rahm may well be needed this week. We're going to dive into what the rough looks like here on the stadium course in just a moment. It was, of course, a talking point at Bay Hill for the Arnold Palmer Invitational last week. So we'll take a closer look at what the players have ahead.